For centuries, the Roman Empire was, well, it was the center of the world. It was built on incredible military might, amazing feats of engineering, and a truly massive interconnected economy. But what if I told you that the very trust holding that entire system together was being quietly destroyed from the inside out?
This really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? It captures that slow, creeping feeling when people start to realize that the coins in their hands, the very foundation of their everyday lives, just aren't what they seem. This is the story of how that trust got broken, not in some big explosion, but one small decision at a time.
So this is the big question we're going to tackle. We are going to follow the life of a single Roman coin. We'll see how it financed one of the greatest empires in history, and then how its corruption nearly brought that same empire to its knees.
To understand the fall, you gotta start with the rise. And right at the heart of Rome's economic power was this one specific, incredibly important piece of silver, the denarius.
The denarius was first minted way back during Rome's brutal wars with Carthage. This was a time when the Republic desperately needed a reliable way to pay its soldiers, and its strength was really its simplicity and its consistency. See, in the ancient world, money wasn't some abstract idea. You were literally trusting the precious metal inside the coin. And for almost 200 years, the Roman state made sure that a denarius was 4.5 grams of solid, pure silver, period.
And you can't overstate how revolutionary this was. I mean, this reliability created a massive single market. A farmer way out in Egypt could sell his grain for these denarii, and a merchant could use those exact same coins to buy goods in Gaul. Soldiers got their pay in neat stacks of silver. This one coin created a shared language of value that literally held the entire empire together. And of course, here's the catch. As Rome got bigger, so did its bills. We're talking about defending thousands of miles of borders, maintaining roads and aqueducts. And, this is the big one, paying a massive standing army. All of that required a staggering amount of money. For a long time, taxes and the spoils of war were enough. But, eventually the pressure started to build. So, with all this financial pressure mounting, the Roman government found a very tempting shortcut. A way to solve its money problems without having to make the really hard choice of, say, raising taxes. It was a simple idea, and it was an incredibly dangerous one. We can actually trace the moment the first crack appears right to Emperor Nero. He was faced with the rising costs of military campaigns and, let's be honest, his own ridiculously extravagant spending. So Nero made a fateful decision. He ordered the mints to reduce the amount of silver in each denarius. Now, it was a subtle change, almost unnoticeable to the naked eye, but a critical line had been crossed.
And what's really fascinating here is the logic. From the government's point of view, it was a brilliant move. Think about it. If each coin needs less silver, you can make more coins from the same amount of metal. All of a sudden, you can pay your soldiers, you can finance your projects, and nobody feels the immediate pain of new taxes. It's the ancient world's version of printing money. But a precedent was now set, and that temptation, it would prove impossible to resist.
So what started as this little trim under Nero slowly became a habit. Over the next century, emperor after emperor continued to quietly reduce the silver content. And then, in the 3rd century, this slow decline just fell off a cliff. It accelerated into a full-blown crisis.
I mean, the 3rd century was just complete chaos. The empire was being torn apart by civil wars, invasions, political assassinations, you name it. And in that kind of environment, the army was the ultimate kingmaker. If you were a general and you wanted to seize power and hold it, you needed the loyalty of the legions. And the fastest way to buy that loyalty was with cold, hard cash. We're talking huge bonuses and higher pay.
And this chart, wow, this chart tells the whole story. Emperors, desperate to pay their armies, just flooded the economy with new coins. Look at this. The silver content just plummets. By the middle of the 3rd century, the main coin, the Antoninus, had less than 5% silver in it. It was basically a bronze coin with a thin silver wash that wore off in no time. The money looked valuable, but it was a lie. So here's the crucial part, this vicious feedback loop. The government makes more junk money to pay the army. Merchants and farmers, they're not stupid. They realize the coins are worthless, so they start demanding more of them for the same goods. Prices skyrocket. Then the soldiers find their wages can't buy anything, so they demand even higher pay, which means the government has to debase the currency even more, and the cycle just spirals completely out of control.
Okay, so things are getting completely out of hand. The crisis got so severe that the Roman state had to try something, but their solutions,
Well, they targeted the symptoms, not the disease, and it showed they fundamentally misunderstood the crisis they had created.
So in 301 CE, Emperor Diocletian issues one of the most ambitious economic decrees in all of history, the Edict on Maximum Prices. This law set fixed prices for everything: wheat, wine, clothing, labor, you name it. And if you broke the law, the penalty was death. It was a brute force attempt to just stop inflation by command.
But it failed. I mean, it failed spectacularly. The edict totally ignored the real problem. The money itself was worthless. Forcing merchants to sell things at an artificial loss just drove the whole economy underground. Black markets thrived, goods vanished from the legal markets, and the law became basically impossible to enforce. As it turns out, you can't execute your way out of an economic reality.
So let's talk about the solution that actually brought some stability. Emperor Constantine, he took a totally different approach. He introduced a brand new coin called the solidus. And as you can see, this wasn't a trick. This was a return to real, actual value. It was a coin made of pure, high-quality gold. Trust was restored, at least for this new currency, and the solidus would actually go on to stabilize the Roman economy for centuries. But the damage to the old silver currency, the money of the common people, that was already done.
So, why are we talking about Roman coins today? Because this isn't just some dusty story about ancient history. It is a timeless warning about money and power and trust.
Think about it. A government under serious financial pressure, a huge military to pay, and the temptation to solve the problem by creating more money from thin air. The details might have changed, but those fundamental pressures and temptations, they remain remarkably similar.
I mean, just look at this comparison. Rome debased metal coins by mixing in cheaper metals. Today, states can expand the money supply digitally with a few keystrokes, but the incentive is the exact same: to pay your bills without making politically painful decisions like raising taxes or cutting spending. The technology is totally different, but that human temptation to find an easy way out of a fiscal problem, that hasn't changed at all.
Ultimately, the story of the denarius is a powerful reminder that the value of money isn't just about what's printed on it, or even the metal that's inside it. It's about trust. And what history shows us, time and time again, is that once that trust is broken, the very foundation of an entire economy can start to crumble. The real crisis doesn't start when prices go up. It starts the moment people lose faith in the money itself.